Dean78904. That is the daily fantasy handle. We're going to be playing on some Fanduel. We're going to be playing on some DK today. Hopefully taking down some tournaments, or at least, mid-cashing. That's not what I want to do. Blender, I know you despise you don't want to mid-cash, but it keeps your bankroll sustainable. Like when you're not going to bank every single day. That's just math.
Well, I mean, you aim for first place, and you, of course, will take the equity lower down in the pay scale if needed. But, I mean, you should be building your lineups to win. I think a lot of people do the opposite. They go, let me build a lineup to min cash, and hopefully maybe it does win. Right? But that's a way to bleed your money over time.
I was telling you pre-show, like so I didn't do any content, like as far as written content for the early slate. Of course, we're here taking you guys up the lock. We're going to hand it off to the Crunch Time crew. We got TJ Zwarych on the week of his wedding. TJ Zwarych going to be coming in. I don't know if he's working all the way up to the bell, but he's going to be coming in for Crunch Time, as well as Dave Potts, who hopefully he's feeling all right. He wasn't feeling particularly great last night. Hopefully he's powering through, feeling better today. He'll be on in about an hour or so, as well as Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth, taking you guys up to the lock time at 1:10 on the East Coast. It's the ungodly hour of 9:30 in the morning here at Mountain Time. Shout out Colorado Springs. I'm still squatting at Grant's house. I'm not sure if you're aware. They were giving me the business the other day or yesterday. Chop and Kirk D's were giving me a hard time for still hanging out here, but I'm enjoying myself. I'm having a little. I'm playing a little sports betting. Blender, you're not in the right state for sports betting, are you? I don't.
No, but Dean, in the past week and a half, I've been dabbling on Prize Picks.
Okay. Yeah. We talk about that. And you wanted a whole rant last time we had a show. And, and you make a great point about how it's not true odds, but at the same time, and I'm sure you've noticed this, Prize Picks will give you some odds that are like minus 150, minus 160. You take advantage of that.
Right. But you just have to find them. The problem is 99% of what you can find on Prize Picks is not that. You just have to find it. And in the past, I think I 9 days or whatever, I'm up about $1,600.
There you go. That's not so bad.
And just to be clear, only playing like $5-10. Like what I'm doing, Dean, and I would suggest it is that the people put together these like 4 or 5 pick type of things, and it's like, oh, I could find 5 good, plus EV or break even, maybe close to the line type of picks on there. And it's like, well, you need to get like all 4 of them right. You need to get all 4, and then you go, oh, well, I'll flex it. It's like, well, are you getting paid right for the flex? It's like, are you getting paid right? What are the things that get you paid the best for being right? And you have to get stuff that's like 58, 59, 60% plus in order to be profitable. Like what I do is that I play a lot of cards. I could if I find 8 things that I want, I just play 8 times 7 times 6. I mean, you just do the permutation of I'm doing the first one with the second one, the first one with the third one, the first one with the fourth one, the first one with, and just keep on going. It's like $10, $10, $10, $10, $10. And if the line is off a little bit more, and then maybe it's $20, $20, $20, 20. So like when I say $1,600, it's like that's like an 8% ROI. And it's over the course of the 5 where you get all 5 and you actually no, I'm just playing twos. All I'm doing is playing twosies and whatever like that, because you want to if I find 5 bad lines, or if let's say I find 4 bad lines, I go, I'm going to make a 4 card. Well, what if you get 3 of those right? Well, you lose all your money. It's like, even though it was
you can click an option to get where 3 out of 4, but you just get paid less if you hit all 4, right? Am I mistaken on that?
But wouldn't you? But you get paid more by having them all in twos and getting paid the 2, right? Like That's what I'm saying. You get paid more that way. So instead of doing that, I just like today, I on Prize Picks. I think on yesterday on Prize Picks, I had 280 cards.
Wow. How do you have the time? You can't max enter that. You got to do that by hand, right?
Yeah, of course you do that. It's very easy. You just go on the website and you use the search box. You go, okay, I'm going to do this with you find a bunch first, and then you just bang them out. Like, and when you find like a new one, and it's like, okay, I already had 8 that I have, and now I have a 9th one. So I take the 9th one and I go, okay, the 9th one with the first one again, $10. With the next one, $10. With the next one, within 2 or 3 minutes, you got them all. Ding, 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 down the line. You got them all, and so I would have on that one thing that I found $100 total, but it's 10% of it is on each and every other player. So essentially, if I go like 55%, I break even. So like 60% would. So it's not. I don't care. It doesn't matter who's with who or anything like that. So I don't have to worry about things like that.
They're asking in the chat, what's up, chat? Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. And we want to make the show as interactive as possible. Let's, whatever questions on your mind, strategy-wise, you got Blender here. Blender will give you a 3-minute diatribe if you ask them every. Just don't ask them any 2v2s. I can answer those. I can handle those.
We don't get those that often. We're not said, what do you think of this versus that? We don't get that often.
Well, I think you've probably trained your audience, and this is kind of your audience. Well, at least, yeah, right now is when you're typically doing your show, right?
Right.
So you've basically trained them like that you're going to flip out if they ask you, like, do you like Peralta or Yelich?
Or do I like anything? Just like, do you like it? Like, I don't know. What do you mean by like it?
Yeah, I mean, and they're asking about
my audience. They should be trolling you. They should be hating on you then.
Hey, I'm happy to entertain and answer that question too. But like I understand your perspective, and there's absolutely, it's lineups, right? It's not players. So like 2v2 questions, generally speaking, need a lot of context to it, but there's nuance always. There you go. We got Ryan in chat. This is for you, Blender. You want Jonah Bride or Nick Madrigal?
I don't even think Nick Madrigal's on. Okay, no, he is on the slate. He's batting 9th. Right. Or Jonah Bride is probably lead. No, he's not going to lead it. He may not even be in the lineup.
He's not projected to be in the lineup. No, right. He's projected to be 7th. There you go.
Okay, I see. But I mean, against lefties, he'll lead off a lot of the time. The default answer to every question today is if they play the Cardinal, if they're on the Cardinals playing.
Well, no. See, you did what I did. The Cardinals are on the late slate, Blender.
On
the Cardinals are on the
slate. That's what I'm doing. So I'm looking at this all wrong. Lineup HQ. Okay. Now, okay, I have to do this all over again.
Yeah, they're playing.
I was literally because I wasn't looking at the time, and I Okay, so that's from later. I literally was going through 5 minutes of like research on lineup HQ. I didn't realize I had the wrong slate.
What's your take for tonight in your 5 minutes?
Okay, well now I got to give me a minute. I got to look to see. I got to run lineups because I was trying to run lineups for whatever slate I had up, and it's just I could not get the Cardinals. So it's like, okay, whatever you do, play. Well, don't play them on this. If you could figure out how to get the Cardinals in on the early slate,
good luck.
Don't play them. They're going to get zeros.
So,
this slate is so much worse. Oh, okay. Now I know what this slate is. Okay. Yeah, this makes sense. I made a dummy lineup, Dean, yesterday.
Yeah.
How did I was making a dummy like the Verlander is on the late slate. But I made a dummy lineup and obviously did not have. I had like Sean Manaea in my lineup. How did I not know that I was on the wrong slate? But I don't know what the default answer is now. But I will run lineups and I will tell you that shortly.
Yeah, Woodruff is basically this slate's Verlander, right? Well, I guess there's somebody to run with Verlander. Well, in theory, Sandy Alcantara. That's the night slate. We'll be talking about that later too. We'll be on 5:00 on the East Coast Standard Time. Talk about the double. Wednesdays, Blender, man. I gotta write expert survey. I gotta do the rankings. I gotta do 2 shows. Like it's a big responsibility for me. It's a lot going on here. You gotta wake up super early here out here. I was up 7 in the morning. Good Lord. But hey, this is what I do for the people. This is what I do for DFS. Woodruff is a top pitcher in the slate. I saw Grant in the chat and he said that he can hear me. Actually, Grant is right in the room next to me. Actually, you're both in the bottom floor. And he says I sound like a big dummy. So yeah.
Why couldn't he deliver that message not in the YouTube chat and just show you in person?
He could literally just like walk in the room and just say, you're a big dummy. And then, my feelings might get hurt a little bit, but the people might be amused by it, I suppose. I just watched him in the backyard filming his turd bombs video, which should be dropping soon enough. Well, here. Hold on. Grant, say hello to Blender.
Hi, Blender.
Say hello.
Yeah, well, you're kind of going in and out of the green screen, but it's almost like you're a ghost.
He's wearing his good tank top today. I don't know if you can see it. There you go.
Yeah.
Grant, how do you feel about the early slate? Have you even thought about it or considered it, or not so much?
I'm not playing the early slate. I got too much gambling to do.
There you go. What's your favorite bet today?
JJ Bleday. Did I get that? Bleday?
Bleday.
He's going to hit a home run.
There you go. Is that one of the turd bombs today?
That is one of the turd bombs. A little sneak peek for you guys. Not hey, I'm going to let the dog in here with you.
All right. Well, he likes me more anyway. I basically won over Grant's dog, and he's a little bitter about that, if you can't tell. Is Doc's behind me? Yeah, I think he is. All right. Apologies to derail the show there for a second. We got plenty of time. We're here for the next 50 minutes. It's a super short slate. And, of course, we're going to hand it off to the Crunch Time crew as well. Do you have a screenshot? I'm giving you some time. I'm buying some time right now, Blender, to run your lineups and see what you're looking at.
Yeah, I quickly. It doesn't take that long. It's only a 6-game slate. It seems like Woodruff and the Padres. I mean, they're probably the chalk, but probably the best projected, like stacks, whatever. I'm getting like 3 Padres and optimals a lot, and then stack wise, if you stack 5-man, like I ran 100 lineups, even with a little diversity, just with a little. 97 out of 100 are Padres stacks. So yeah. So
what do you do with that information? Being Blender.
Well, first off, probably I don't want to play. I'm not going to play the chalk. But I mean, do the Padres just project out so much better than other teams? I mean, they have a 4.73 implied run total right now. So I would want to play really chalky Padres with, like the Mets are a 5.69 run total, but they're overpriced. The Mets prices have gotten up a little too much. I don't know who TJ Zwarych is.
You're supposed to embrace that. Being Blender, you're supposed to embrace bad prices.
Yeah, but people will play him. Starling Marte was like 5,500 the other day. He was 35% owned, got 24 points, and I had a decent lineup that day. And I'm like, what? Why is he so owned? I understood Alonso. I understand that. But why is Starling Marte 5,500? You could have played so many other people cheaper that were projected better than him.
I didn't realize he was that heavily owned. I had a good because the Mets that day, I think I know what they were talking about. They were just crazy chalk. Again,
right.
It wasn't Minor, but it was somebody else that was supposed to get their face punched.
Justin Dunn.
Yes. It's funny you say that because Justin Dunn was, he was injured and coming back his way and he was horrific in the minors. And I think what's going on with the Reds is they just ran out of pitchers. And that kind of leads to the conversation today. Justin Dunn was promoted, but not because he was, it wasn't performance related. It's just they ran out of arms. He was horrendous in the minors. And I know we have TJ Zwarych is going to be doing the show later on today, like in 45 minutes or so. I don't know if it's a relative or not in Saskatoon. TJ Zwarych is going to be.
Zoich. I think it's Zoich.
Is it Zoich?
Zoich.
It's very close. I can't look at his name without not thinking of TJ. He was horrendous in the minors too. I know we don't talk a lot of ERA in these shows, and we're like advanced digging into stuff. But in 13 games, the minor leagues this year, right? 6.7 ERA. That seems bad, right? I think that's bad. I feel like that's
probably
bad.
Doesn't deserve you a call up.
Yeah, I think the Reds are just. I mean, look, they're just playing out the string. They're hitting the sim button. They don't really care at this point. 22 walks in 45 innings seems like too many. 54 strikeouts is like okay, but like for the minors, you're supposed to have an advanced number of strikeouts, and that's not spectacular. Yeah, he has been horrendous. That's just been the case. Homers, just 8 homers, which isn't like a huge number, but he's also not facing major league hitting. So like the point is, like, I think you're supposed to pay attention to the Mets. I know the Mets ballpark's not spectacular. It's not as great as it was the last couple of days as far as the weather. 84 degrees. I'm looking at the weather wise, and the only weather issues today, as far as I can tell, Roth will clarify this obviously, is later on today. The night slate, potentially Baltimore, potentially Philly could be dicey. And also here in Denver in Coors, it's not just Coors Field, but also it's going to be spectacular hitting weather as well. I'll drop the link in chat for the people if they want to read it, but there's really nothing to be concerned with. Winds gently in from center, nice gently at 5 miles per hour in Chicago, and a low chance of a brief sprinkle, but it doesn't expect that as far as the Mets. Otherwise, we're in the clear. We got a dog hacking up a bone or something behind me. I'm not really sure if you can hear that or not, but hopefully he's powering on through. You okay, Doxy? Yeah, so, talk to me about your assessment, your overview. We're looking at as far as the early slate. What's popping for you?
Okay, so I'm running some lineups here using the bat. Like I don't necessarily know what's going to be like the most popular right now. I mean, ownership seems fairly flat. Like not a pitcher. I mean, Woodruff is going to be chalk. So Woodruff projects the best. I'm building. I'm trying to use a little diversity. Building 100 lineups using stack diversity, just so I don't get 100 of one stack or anything like that. I'm still getting Woodruff in like 100% of my lineups. Interestingly enough, the second pitcher, I'm not sure on this slate how easy it is to play like Woodruff and like Ray or something, like to like pay up twice. Like I just don't think, outside of Woodruff, I don't think there's anyone worth paying up for. Like, I don't think Ray against the Yankees. I mean, Ray could get 10 strikeouts, but he could also give up 3 home runs to the Yankees.
He'll probably do both. Yeah.
Or do exactly both. I don't trust Taijuan Walker at all. Neither Josiah Gray. Mania is fine. It's weird for me to say, based on the back projections. You know who the top point per dollar projected pitcher on the slate is?
I know I looked at it earlier today. Let's see.
But take a wild guess.
I'm gonna say it is. We're looking at DK, correct?
Yeah, DK.
And you're saying point per dollar, so it's
point per dollar. Yeah.
It's not Ray. It's not Woodruff. It's not Cortez. I think it's Blackburn.
That's correct. Paul Blackburn against the Angels. The Angels, outside of like Ohtani, pretty much, the Angels aren't good. I mean, and their strikeout rates are high, and most of their batters don't even hit that well anyway, even when they don't strike out. Paul Blackburn is not a strikeout pitcher. Okay, we all, that's why it's like, you're like, oh, Paul Blackburn, the guy that goes 5 innings with 1 strikeout. Well, for 5,700, it's weird to say the A's are favored in this game.
I saw that.
I mean, the total is low, but I mean, the A's have a 3.91 implied run total. The Angels have 3.59. They're playing in Oakland, which is more pitcher friendly. It's weird for me to say that Blackburn, as well as the A's batters against Toussaint, are quite interesting. I think, because Toussaint walks a lot of guys. And I love targeting I love targeting bats against guys that walk a lot of people, because it just puts people on base for, a hit turns into extra points, right? Like all the time. And they go through the order a little bit quicker. Do I want to rely on this is just like, oh, Blackbird and the A's. Like, what type of slate is this?
Terrible slate.
Right.
But by the way, somebody was asking, and by the way, I saw Sandoval was according to DK, Sandoval was pitching for the Angels, but that's since changed. If you saw that earlier, it looks like it's officially going to be Toussaint.
Right. And Toussaint and everything we have here at RotoGrinders.
Yeah, that appears to be the case. And somebody was asking in chat if Toussaint yields stolen bases. In his career, 153 innings, 10 stolen bases. So that's more than most, I would say.
That's not absurd. It's not Noah Syndergaard.
No, well, nobody's Syndergaard. Yeah.
Well, that's what those types of things, Dean. Those types of things, the yield stolen bases. It's not just the pitcher; it's the battery as a whole. Sure. So, like you say, it's Syndergaard and Max Stassi. Like that's why, like anytime if you looked at projections this past season and saw Syndergaard and Stassi, like the opposing team would automatically, like each player. I think didn't Grant was taking advantage. Like Benintendi hasn't stolen a base for like the entire year, but it's Syndergaard and Stassi, and it's not like Benintendi's slow.
Every 5 days, I bet stolen base guys against Syndergaard. Grant's gonna do that all season long. Some of these sites have gotten sharp enough; they finally figured it out. It took them all season long. They took stolen base props down with Syndergaard
because he's such an out. Because what I'm saying is that he's such an outlier compared to other pitchers. That's when it's number one. This is already calculated into the projection. So if you're looking at projections, you don't even have to think about this type of stuff. But even if you weren't, like you need that much of an outlier. It's like if Toussaint is like slightly worse, and with Stassi on the mound, or what, like how much is that much worth? Like it's a little. It'll be accounted for in projections, but it's, to me, once you go down the rabbit hole of trying to find things like that, you'll never end.
Yeah, I mean, Syndergaard's just such an outlier where I'm willing to roster stolen base guys against him.
Well, yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Outside, like that's what I say. Like Syndergaard's like you look on that graph, that R squared type of graph, right? You look like that. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, all these pitchers are very close to the line, very close to the line, very close enough to the line. And Syndergaard is like just sitting out there and like looks like the moon as part of the graph, a little dot on the way on the outside. It's like that makes a difference.
If the Marlins were to start Billy Hamilton against them tonight, which I think they should, because why else is he on your team if you're not going to start Billy Hamilton against Noah Syndergaard? Who are you starting him against? Then I would play him. But yeah, otherwise, and there are also some pitchers like R.A. Dickey was a guy who would never give up a stolen base because his delivery was just so fast to home. Although he was throwing knuckleballs at 60 miles an hour, his delivery was so efficient. There's some guys where I wouldn't necessarily roster stolen base guys against them, but whatever.
The problem with Billy Hamilton, though,
he's terrible. Yeah,
he steals a lot of bases. The problem is he rarely gets on base to steal them.
Can't steal first, right?
Right.
Is the old adage. Some questions here in chat. Justin Steele, is he somebody you're considering? Like, again, as far as an SB2, I think on FanDuel, like, I'm going to do my best to get Woodruff. I don't care if he's going to be chalky. We currently only have him at 25%, which is, to me, seems kind of low. I know he's 11K and he's kind of pricey, but good matchup there against Tampa. Taijuan Walker at 20%, Mania at 8, Ray at 8. Ray at 8 is pretty interesting. That seems a little bit low for his potential upside. If we were talking before, you're not necessarily shooting them in cash. Ray is a guy that could strike out 10 and only give up 1 homer. Like, that's certainly possible as well. I
think both pitchers in that Washington Cubs game, that the Nationals Cubs game.
Yeah.
I think Josiah Gray has strikeout upside, and if he's going to on Draftkings, maybe not on FanDuel. Basically, if you're not playing Woodruff, you can play anyone you want. Like, Woodruff's going to be chalk, and then it's like a bunch of other people. But it's a one pitcher site on Draftkings. You play Woodruff, and then you have to play someone else. So I think from a ceiling perspective, I think Gray offers strikeout ceiling. But I mean, he's not a trustworthy pitcher. And I don't mind Steele as a punt there either. I mean, I think it's very close between Steele and Blackburn. I think for like if you're playing cash games or smaller field stuff, like where you're prioritizing like some median outcome, I think Blackburn is safer. But I think Steele has a little bit wider range of outcomes. But I don't even know. Can you even make a lineup that has Blackburn and like if you play both Blackburn and Steele, 5,700 and 6,200?
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's not even worth playing. Like, you'd have to leave money on the table because you almost can't even fill your speed.
Well, you got 4-7, so you're going to spend. I mean, you're probably going to get Judge. Like, he's probably going to be in your lineup. Yeah, I mean that's what everybody else is doing too. If they're doing that,
right? Well, that's the point that I'm making, Dean. That you're going to end up with I spent 50,000, and if that lineup wins with my 5, because also you're stacking in there, so it's like this 5-man stack with the Judge one off, a Soto one off, and a whatever one off, so in a Yelich one off or something like
a Met
that.
Stack, yeah,
right, or a Met stack, right, something like that. It's like it's you're going to run into. It looks like who's going to play this, and it's like, well, yeah, not many people played it, but out of the 1,000 people that have that pitcher combination lineup, like 6 opponents have virtually the same lineup as yours. Maybe even you're duped 3 times.
The thing with Gray is that he gives up way too many homers, way too many fly balls. This season is homer per 9 is 2.38. That is excessive. It's a big boy number. And again, the fly balls at over 51% fly balls. That's a ton. He's the highest fly ball guy on the slate by more than 11% higher than anybody else. Next guy is Tucson. Tucson, small sample stuff. That's 8 innings in the entire season. His homer and the fly ball is a little bit out of hand at 19.4%. But again, he's giving up so many fly balls that the home runs are going to happen. There is some K stuff, but he also is reckless. He walks too many guys. He's got an extremely high 10.1% walk rate. So Josiah Gray, like you were talking about, he's very volatile. He's kind of like
GPP. You're looking for volatility.
Yeah, like if you catch him on the right day, and like this is a guy that was the key piece in the Trey Turner deal, I believe. Like he's got pedigree and he's got an electric arm. If you watch him pitch, it's like, wow, this guy looks unhittable. But the next inning, he gives up 3 homers and 2 walks. It's like, well, I guess he's still figuring stuff out. Not a complete project just yet. I think eventually he's going to get there to some degree, but he's not quite there just yet. And again, the weather in Chicago, better than it's been the last few days, but still not great hitting weather. Again, if you guys are in chat and you're thinking about, what lineup you're considering, or what about this guy, what about that guy, or what about this stack, please, by all means, fire it off.
Give me those thummy thumbs. You have to solicit, Dean, for thummy thumbs.
I don't like the stoop. I don't like the beg. I don't like the grovel. But yeah, I mean, come on. Just like you're watching this out. Like, what else are you doing, right? Click the thumb up. Thumb down, I think, is good too. Just any sort of interaction. I'm not encouraging a thumb down, but by all means. That's my understanding for the algorithm. You know this, Blender, or no?
Yeah, it's something like that. Just click on everything. Just whatever. Click around on the screen and help us out, right? You don't like shilling for stuff. You'll shill for other things, but you won't shill for likes.
Well, what will I shill for? That I'll do
sponsors, right? We have sponsors you shill for.
I'll do a read. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Hey,
So turn that into turn the like button into a read and the subscribe. Because remember, there are 3 buttons, Dean. There's a like button, there's a subscribe button, and then there's the notification bell to know when we go live. Because look, this show was scheduled as if it was the pregame show for 11 o'clock in the morning Eastern, and no one changed it. So people showed up early at 11 o'clock, and we're sitting there for a half an hour going, "Oh, well, what the hell's going on?" But they wouldn't have had to sit there if they hit the notification bell, because it wouldn't have notified you until we were live. So that's the value, Dean, of pressing the button. So I'm not shilling. I'm providing. Look at this information. Look at how this could be helpful to you.
People were sitting there at 11 o'clock, and at 11:15, they're like, they're still not here. Thumb down. I'm out of here. You think that happened possibly?
Oh no, I like that too. Okay, we get it. As long as you click on something, we're good.
Hey, not for nothing, and unbeknownst to anything, and there's no shilling here in any particular way. But Blender, have you heard the FanDuel single entry series is back? Are you aware of this?
No, tell me more.
The FanDuel single entry series, it's back. And not just is it back, it's back with $50,000 in bonus cash up for grabs. Now, right now, Blender, if you're not aware of this, we are in the 3rd week now. You've still got like 4 weeks or so. We already had a couple qualifiers, a couple winners, the $2, the $1, but we care this week about the $5 entry. And that's actually tonight's slate, just so you know, and it's going to sell out. It sold out last night. It's the first place you play single entry. If you have $5, that's the first contest you enter. And why is that? Because Blender, the top 4 scores every week, it's going to count toward your combined score. And players with the highest combined score every series, they get paid on top of the regular contest payouts. But the top finisher in each series, they're going to get an all-expensive pay trip to the single entry series going down in Chicago, September 9th, for a shot to win 10,000 smackers.
What am I missed the first 3 weeks? What am I supposed to do? Am I behind?
Well, no, that's the thing. It's a clean slate every single week. And
it's a clean slate? Oh my God. That's so much
like an
better.
Etch-a-Sketch. Did you have one of those as a kid? Every single Monday we shuffle up that Etch-a-Sketch. It's a clean like it never happened. The Men in Black mind eraser, whatever sort of adjective you want to use, whatever descriptive. But yeah, and here's the thing, Blender. Maybe you missed yesterday. Maybe you missed Tuesday. That is yesterday. That was yesterday. Maybe you missed Monday. You can still recover because it's only your top 4 scores. You got to play through Sunday, obviously, right? And you got to have a really, really strong, you got to have a good closing game. But only 4 scores count. So if you had zeros on Monday or Tuesday, no big deal. Just crush going forward. And Ryan,
sounds beautiful. Sounds wonderful. If I weren't on the show right now, I'd be leaving. Right, I'd be leaving my house in order to get there.
To Chicago or to where?
No, I'm just to let. I have to go to the FanDuel offices in order to enter. Right? It's not just simply going to the FanDuel app.
Oh no, you can use the app. You can use your iPad. You can use your laptop, your desktop, whatever works for you. I did actually sign up earlier today. I am signed up for that $5 one. By the way, last night I put up I think I was like in the top 50 or something like that. I think I put up a good score last night. I don't think I did anything Monday for what it's worth.
Dean, where do I put this? Dean, I want to put my $5 in for this. Do I put it into the camera?
Well, no. It's technology has advanced to the point where you can just click buttons and you have a bank account. Do you not have an balance?
I have a bank account that has a lot of $5 bills in it.
I feel like I'm on like the worst infomercial from like the 80s. As a kid, that was one of my goals. I wanted to be an audience member on an infomercial. Never worked out quite. I suppose that still could happen. But yeah, it's good to have goals.
Right. I wanted to play the dumbest, the stereotypical dumb, like it can't be that easy. Like I don't know how to do things, and you have to tell me no. You don't have to worry about that. So I'm handing out obstructions and objections, and then you go, oh my God, it can't. But the only thing is,
I appreciate the prompts.
The only thing is about the single entry series for $5. is that you can't wait like 20 seconds of the commercial and then they'll give you 2 for the same price, right? Because that's always the progression in all of them now, right? It's typically this thing does the black and white background of the bad thing and the colored background of the vacuum thing does makes your back do this, and then you get the vacuum whatever. And then and then they go, it's $19.99, and they go, oh wow, that's a deal. And wait, there's more. You get 3 of them.
They always throw in some nonsense item at the last second.
Right.
Did you ever hear the Mitch Hedberg joke on that about 4 easy payments?
Right.
He's like, what about 3 easy payments and 1 really hard one?
Now, my favorite in those commercials is when the timer comes on at the end.
How do they know when the commercial ran? How do they know when I watched it? I could have been watching it like on demand, or I could have been. They have no idea when I watched this commercial. When
of course, there's no timer. There's not like, you got to call in the next 15 minutes and the clock is running. It's obviously a psychological scam for like if you called 16 minutes later, it's like, are you in Boise? Well, nope, you missed out, right? If you're in Shreveport, you're
on in 20 minutes because you watch it on channel 2. How do I check the standings in the single entry series? As Joe's asking, it's a good question because there was a link, a really quick link on the homepage of RotoGrinders, and now it might have been replaced by the NFL preseason to let the people know about what's going on preseason wise. But I know it's somewhere, but I don't have an answer for you, unfortunately. It's somewhere saved in my history. So like if I just sort of type in single entry series, it'll pop up. But I don't know how to get there if I don't already have that for the record. So I'm sure it's someplace, but that's not a helpful answer. Maybe producer Devin's lurking, producer Steve's lurking. Maybe they can help you all out and let you guys know. Yeah, the Ronco food you had here. I was a big Ron Popeil guy back in the day. He was like the nuts when it comes to. He invented everything. That guy made $1 billion. I didn't.
A lot of commercials.
What's that?
He had a lot of commercials, at least.
Yeah, he had a lot going on. Let's see.
I never understood. This is how my brain worked back then. When they said that it's only available, like it's not available in stores. Like, isn't that a bad thing?
No, you're selling exclusivity.
Yeah, but wouldn't you want to sell the most amount of things that you would want it to be in stores?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, and I'm sure you've seen this before, like other stores all of a sudden popped up. They had like an as seen on TV section. Like you've seen that like in Target or something like that, right?
No, the real reason, by the way, that they don't put it into stores is because selling it direct, you make more money. Right, you don't have to pay a distributor. Yeah. You don't have to. I understand. Like now in the business world, I understand why they make more money that way. But they could sell more in volume if they put it in actual stores. But as a consumer, my attitude was, my brain worked is like, wouldn't you want me to just be able to go to Walmart right now and buy it? I mean, like, then how good could it be if Walmart doesn't even want to have it?
I want to buy it online. I don't want to. I got to put on pants. I got to leave the house.
But even Walmart.com, fine, like free whatever delivery.
Michael said Ron Popeil had that magic slicer. Yeah, he had a whole versatile. He had a ton of things. Just an incredible arsenal. His resume is pretty impressive. Yeah. Oh, the Flowbee is getting mentioned in chats. Yeah, I had that. Speaking of infomercials, I feel like did they ever have a half-hour Flowbee commercial, or just like that was like a minute in between shows?
No, all of them they recorded half an hour versions because they throw them on at 2:30 in the morning for for filler. If the station didn't have any paid programming.
So, question in chat from GQ: favorite pitcher not named Woodruff on Fanduel. Let me give a refresh as far as our ownership. I feel like that's just a tick low, at least in my opinion. And again, we have 2 different ownership stuff. I'm kind of shuffling through. I look at the BatX ownership projection stuff, and I look at the Plate IQ stuff as well. And generally, they're more or less in line. We have so it went up a little bit, a tick as far as Woodruff at 26% on FanDuel, then Walker at 19%. In theory, Ray is really interesting, I think, for tournaments at 7%. Who would you say your favorite pitcher is on FanDuel if you're not using Woodruff?
Well, it's not Walker. I don't want to play chalky Taiwan Walker. Doesn't sound right. To me, you go after strikeouts. So, like, to me, going after Mania, going after Josiah Gray, going after Robbie Ray. Like, that, to me, FanDuel is strikeout ceiling, 6-inning ceiling, like tons of pitches ceiling. Like, and you don't have to play a cheap pitcher. You don't have to go down and play a 6K level pitcher. So, you
ran some
right. It's
on
not
FanDuel,
5,800. Right? Like, yeah, you're not doing that.
Ryan's talking about Toussaint because just the matchup against Oakland. That's more.
I
of a
prefer Oakland. You're saying Toussaint's man? No, I want Oakland's matchup against Toussaint. That's the better side of the matchup.
Well, what do they say? Like the immovable object versus the what's the inverse of that? Like two terrible things going at each other.
A movable object versus the destructible force or something. TJ will know in the next because he knows all the superhero slogans.
Hey, there you go, Devin. Devin's on top of it. He just dropped the link in chat for the people. The FanDuel single entry series leaderboard. Yeah, I know it's somewhere on the site, but the quick and easy button, I couldn't find it. And and you can sort through it by only RG members. You search your name, and the sad thing is, you search your name, and it's like, oh, it didn't come up, and that's because it only searches like 100 at a time. Like basically, if you're in the top 100, and you got to click to the next page and click to the next page. But at a certain point, it doesn't matter if you're not in the top several hundred. But of course, maybe it doesn't or does matter because, like we said, just crush on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and who cares?
Just crush 4 days in a row. That's all you need to do.
There you go. Devin Googled it. I guess that could have, that makes sense. That probably would have worked as well. DK wise, and by the way, are you embracing Woodruff? I assume you are. It sounds like you are.
Yeah, I'm based on what I'm looking at right now. I'm only playing one lineup on DK today in the 121. I have it in some other like the $20 3 max. It's in a bunch of.
I'm in there too.
Right. I most likely I will be playing Woodruff and Blackburn, and then I don't know what I'm not playing the Cardinals. I'll let you know that I'm not playing the Cardinals.
Well, you're definitely not playing the Cardinals. They're going to be low.
Definitely not playing the Cardinals. But I probably won't play the Padres. Like, see the problem is you pay down for Blackburn, like stacking the A's. Like you're leaving a lot of. I mean, they're not. I mean, you'd pretty much have to use Laureano and Murphy, right? I mean, just you're going to leave money on the table. I don't know about stacking the A's. I think the A's are more
secondary.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking through.
I'm not stacking the A's. I don't hate them as like a 1 off or a 2 off or a 3 off, that kind of thing. Is 3 off a term? I don't know. I just made it up. That's called a mini stack, I suppose. But
I mean, it's San Diego. To me, the top. How about the Yankees? That in running these lineups, I'm getting a bunch of the Padres, the A's, and the Yankees.
Yeah,
I think this is remember early in the morning. Like remember, I wake up and this is what I'm looking at the slate, almost like what normal people are looking at.
You talk through it basically,
right? I talk through it, right? Especially this early because how much time do you have? I wake up a half an hour before doing this. I'm not now. I don't think Ray on DraftKings is going to be that popular. He won't be unowned, but he'll be whatever. But I think that I just think in terms of people going to pick batters against him? Like it says like, oh yeah, I don't want to play Ray against the Yankees, but I also don't want to pay these prices for, the Yankees against Ray. So why not guys like Judge at 6,500, but like Torres at 4,700? Like get a cheap catcher, Trevino. Well, this lineup, what happened to this lineup?
Matt Carpenter got hurt.
And Stanton's out.
Yeah, it doesn't look that great. Yeah, I mean,
right. I'm going through here. I'm going, okay, LeMahieu, Judge, Donaldson, Torres, then Hicks, Trevino, IKF, LeCastro, Andujar. I'm like, what happened to the Yankees?
It's just like I think Judge inflates their power so much. Donaldson's having kind of a down year from him for power. His ISO is 185 versus lefties. Historically, he used to smash them. That's not horrific, but it's not as good as it used to be. Torres pretty good against lefties. Trevino, I don't know how real that is. I think Trevino's kind of fraudulent. It's small sample stuff, like good for him, but I don't totally believe that power is real. LeCastro is just a speed guy. Like we don't know what the lineup is. This is just our projected lineup right now. I was thinking, you're trying to be a little bit different in this kind of slate. This is the perfect spot to roster Ray and Judge in the same lineup. I don't think that's crazy at all.
Why? You have plenty of choices. What are you doing? Don't do that.
Ray's going to strike out 8. He's going to go up 2 runs, and Judge is going to hit a homer, and then there you go.
But you're paying $6,500 for Judge. If that was a cheaper guy, maybe I could possibly agree. Judge, you need a lot more for that. Like
he homers up the bullpen too. He gets 2 home runs. I don't know.
Why are you making scenarios where you need multiple things to happen? Make it so that when Ray has 14 strikeouts, he's striking out Judge 3 times, and you don't have him in your lineup.
He probably does strike him out a couple times, but Judge also might get him. And
if this was a 3-game slate, Dean, I'd be like, okay, I could see it.
It's small enough.
Too many options.
Well, I mean, there's some games that are barely even happening. Like they're happening, but like they're hard to get excited about.
Yeah, but at least it's people that aren't correlated with your other players. Your pitchers, right?
Well, again, like I don't care if my pitcher Ray's going to give up a homer. Like I kind of just sign up for that.
Sure about that?
What's that?
Are you sure?
No, of course not.
Okay.
Like it's certainly possible he gives up a home run, and the most likely guy to homer. And again, I would take the field on the Yankees instead of Judge if that was an option. That's not. I just, it's Blender. I'm thinking outside the box here, and you're denying that. And this right. You're supposed to be an outside the box thinker.
Yeah, but sometimes you have to sit. Sometimes you have to sit in the box. By the way, Taiwan Walker's projection is going to come down a little bit.
Well, what did anything change as far as the Cincinnati lineup?
The Reds lineup? Aristides Aquino is not in the lineup.
Oh, that's a bummer. That was a couple strikeouts on layaway.
Aristides Aquino has like a 44% strikeout rate or something.
He's the Punisher.
He's past 40. I mean, he's over 40, right?
It's a lot. I mean, he hasn't obviously played a ton this year in the majors, but he's a big strikeout guy. The lineup, by the way, if the people are curious: India, Senzel, Farmer, Votto, Solano, Almora Jr., Fraley, Barrero, and Papirski. Man, that's a rough lineup. But yeah, the strikeouts of Aquino, yeah. So 54 bats this year versus righties, 44% strikeouts. Man, that's like O'Neill Cruz versus lefties almost. I wonder if he's going to be in the lineup tonight versus Mad Bum, because we're supposed to roll a roster any lefty versus the Pirates, and that's kind of putting it that it's a peek at the slate later for tonight. I think he's popping as an SP2.
Oh, Bumgarner? Yeah, no. That I was going to say when I was running before the show, thinking that was the slate. I was like Verlander, and you're not going to like who's the SP2 in this slate.
It's uncomfortable.
It's Mad Bum, and that's almost that seems more uncomfortable. No, is it more uncomfortable than Blackburn this slate? The problem.
No.
Think about guys like Blackburn, for instance. Like what I don't like about these types of pitchers is that when they get into trouble, there's no way of getting out. Like Zach Greinke is should I play Zach Greinke at 6,300 against whatever? It's a crappy team or something as an SP2. He has a very good path to like 15 points.
But he gives up 3 runs in the first, he's dead because he can't catch up.
He can't strike anyone, can't catch up. Right. Someone like if Woodruff gives up 2 runs in the first inning and no strikeouts, like dude, he could go the next 5 innings and strike out 12. I mean, like you can, like if Ray gives up a home run to Judge in the first inning, Ray could still end up being the highest scoring pitcher on the slate. Like guys like Blackburn, if Ohtani, if Blackburn gives up 4 runs in the first inning, you close your laptop. Like he ain't
it's over.
He ain't gonna have a usable score anymore.
They're asking in the chat about Nestor Quartz. Mr. Richard wants to know about Nestor Quartz. He's still pretty pricey on the season. His K rate's pretty good, 25.8%. The biggest K number, of course, in the slate is Woodruff at 29.4. Just below that is Ray at 28.1. I'm not counting Toussaint because the sample's too small. We already talked about Gray. Springs is pretty good. He's a good K guy. I don't know how much they're going to push him. They usually throw him around 90 pitches or so, right? I think he's worth acknowledging his existence against Milwaukee. But what's your thoughts as far as Cortez? He's kind of pricey.
He's there. That's it. That's all I could really say. I mean, from his projection standpoint, he's.
Tony wants to know if we're going to go around the horn. We're not going to go around the horn. Blender hates going around the horn. I don't want to subject Blender to that. We have to have an overarching conversation as far as the slate.
Well, if you're playing GPPs, you shouldn't be playing position by position. You're doing stacks and pitchers. That's pretty much it.
But I was going to say the show, it's going to follow us in 15 minutes. You got the Dave Potts, Cheeseisgood, TJ as well, Kevin Roth talking weather, asking questions, hosting the show. They will go around the horn. They're going to get their favorite stacks and their favorite pitchers. They're going to do the whole deal, and they'll go around the horn and answer all the questions, of course, in the RotoGrinders premium, the premium channel. And I feel like since it's an early morning, smaller audience for these shows, Roth will be looking for questions. So Roth is actually going to entertain, I don't want to speak for him, but likely going to entertain questions from YouTube as well, which again, we prioritize the premium Discord, which makes sense. And usually we don't have time to get to it, but we're going to have time because they have an extra 10 minutes too. It's 1:10 I want to say, as far as the lock today. So they'll be on for 40 minutes or so. Good luck stretching that one out. What are your favorite stacks?
Like I said before, the A's and the Yankees.
And A's are
in comparison to ownership, it's always based on a GPP perspective. The top stack on the slate is, from a price perspective on DraftKings, is the Padres, according to the bat projections.
I'm kind of surprised by that, to be honest.
Why?
I thought it'd be the Mets. I think the Mets are the best stack.
It's just a price perspective. Nimmo's 5,100, Lindor's 6,000, Alonso's 6,000, McNeil's 46, Naquin is 40. It's just that they're very expensive. Yeah, they have a 6-run total. I get it. They have a 6-run total. Just to put things in perspective, they have a 6-run total at Citi Field. Right? So from a ballpark perspective.
We talked about TJ Zwarych. How do you say that?
I think it's Zwarych.
I think it's going to be Zoinks after he gives up like 3 homers today. I don't know.
The problem, like, how do you play Woodruff and then stack 5 guys from the Mets without having like Guillermo in your line? Like without how do you stack like at least 4 good hitters from the Mets?
Let's see. Who are the best salary savers on the slate? We got Peralta leading off versus Woodruff. That's another one, by the way. If you don't want to spend $6K on Judge, I think it's not the worst idea. You could play Woodruff and Peralta in the same lineup. That's not a disaster. That's my opinion.
I think there's many more options on the slate that you don't have to do that, but at least it's a cheaper bat. At least it's like Peralta gets his 7 points and Woodruff still gets 30. Like, you could still win with a $3,300 7-pointer.
There's some cheap guys on Washington, like Lane Thomas leading off is 2-4.
Yeah, but why do you want these guys as one-offs? So you could stack, you could overpay for all the Mets and Woodruff.
Ryan says to play Woodruff of Blackburn and just jam in Lindor, Judge, Ohtani, and Soto. Oh, that's right after your heart blender. 1-1-1-1 stack. All the one-offs. I love it.
Well, as long as you have 4 of the guys that correlate to at least one of those guys.
Oh, man. Anything? I'm just still waiting for lineups to come through on some of these other teams. I'm hitting the refresh. My notifications have been dinging. Have we had a lineup coming through in the last few minutes? Or waiting for the Padres, waiting for the Yankees? I understand some of the stuff, with day game after night day, you usually get somebody resting. You might get Judge resting. That's possible.
Right. Yeah, because all these games are late. Like, number one, like, we have all the lineups in through the 2:20 Eastern games, but this game is 3:37 Eastern, so that's 3 hours away. Then we have a 4:10 and a 4:10. And also understand that the Yankees-Mariners game went until like 2:30 in the morning.
13 innings last night.
Right.
The Mariners scored, I believe, on a non-hit, right? They just, the man on second, and whatever. It was 0-0, 1-0, 13 innings, and probably wasn't the most fun baseball game to watch.
Dean, yesterday, did you see the thing early in the slate, the first inning of the Blue Jays-Orioles game?
What happened in the first inning of the Blue Jays?
It was first and second, and on a Santander hit like a shot into the gap that like Merrifield looked like he could have caught or he could have trapped.
Mm-hmm.
And the base runners ran as if the ball was going to be in the gap, and they got a triple play out of it.
Yeah.
But the call was overturned that he didn't catch the ball. So the review was either it's a triple play, and the inning's over, or it's bases loaded, no outs.
Okay. I did not see that. But that's
from a fantasy perspective, I had a lot of Manoa unders, and I had Orioles. So like, I was like, no triple play, please, no triple play. And the Orioles did pretty well against Manoa.
Walker, he's coming up a start where he got his face punched in, but he's just kind of a sort of a BABIP guy in the Cincinnati lineup's not spectacular, but the price is a little excessive. I guess he's fine, but like you said, he feels a little bit like an overspend. I haven't made my lineup yet, so I'm just kind of like I'm kind of thinking out loud as well too. Who would be my SP2? And I might play some Blackburn just to kind of make stuff work. I'm certainly going to try. I'm going to try to play Ray with Woodruff on DK, but I don't know.
But you need to get a lot of salary savers for that.
That's because we live in the world of a salary cap. You've heard that before, right?
Oh, we do? Oh.
Yes. You got 3.8 per stick. There's probably a few punts. I don't know. I'm going to look into that. I'm going to see. And like again, 13 innings with the Yankees last night. Don't be surprised if you get, day game after night day. You're going to get somebody, but they're not deep right now. Like as far as their projected lineup's not great, and one of those guys probably sits.
So maybe you get Higgs as the DH or something, or Higgs as catcher and Trevino DHs or something.
Yeah, they might run out both catchers or something like that.
Right.
I'm going to look into Ray over on Ks, or just maybe over on innings. I think I might anticipate that happening. I'm curious what that number is. Who knows how tight his pants are going to be? You never really know what you're going to get out of Robbie Ray, but we know his upside is certainly interesting. And if you're going to get 4x less ownership on Ray than Woodruff on FanDuel, like for sure that's interesting. And then you can just sort of play basic. You can play a more chalky lineup if you want to embrace the chalk as far as your stacks. I'm looking that route as well too. We'll be building this stuff after the show. Again, any questions you have in the chat, feel free to fire them off. We got TJ coming in a few minutes, as well as Roth, as well as I presume Dave Potts is going to give it a go. I know he wasn't feeling his best last night, but hopefully he'll be on taking you guys home. B Shots is saying in the chat, you can play whoever you want. Yeah, that is you can, just as long as you're under. You don't have the qualifier, but it's implied. You got to be under the salary. You can't just play. You can't literally play wherever you want.
No, you can't. Sorry. Only the good players can. That's how we win. That's how we win all the time. We slip an extra that little $5 that I had. We slip in a little extra. We get because people don't count. What ends up someone wins we win, and then if you actually counted the salary, we're actually like 3,000 over the salary cap, and no one noticed.
Ryan wants to know if you prefer Blackburn or Steele, which is that's a fun question. That's the nature of the slate, man, right? Who do you prefer amongst those two?
It's that gift of the kid, like this or this.
Yeah.
I prefer the team going up against the Angels versus the team that's going up against the Nationals. And
they're both terrible, but yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Right. The Nationals don't strike out as much. That's really like Blackburn's not a strikeout pitcher. Steele is more of a strikeout pitcher, at least higher Ks. But I don't know. 3.22 total. They're close enough that I don't have I lean slightly to Blackburn only because the projections he's slightly higher projected. So that's really what it boils down to. So it's a fit to me. It's a 52-48 decision. They both project for about the same. It's just that Blackburn's 500 cheaper. So if you don't need the 500 in salary, then play Steele. Fine. Okay. Fill it in.
And I made this argument the other day. Washington was an incredibly contact-heavy team the entire season. They lost Soto as a big contact guy, big walk guy. They lost Bell as a big contact guy, and they added Luke Voigt. So they're still not an incredible strikeout matchup, but it's improved.
Dean, what I'm going to do, I'm going to play the National stack.
Yeah,
but not with all Nationals. I'm going to play
Soto?
I'm going to play Soto and Bell with Luis Garcia and Lane Thomas and like Victor Robles or something like that, and I'll say it's a National stack.
There's got to be some more former Nationals just kind of wandering in this slate. That
Yan Gomes, I'll play Yan Gomes at catcher on the Cubs.
Is Yan Gomes playing today?
Yeah, he's on the Cubs on the other side, right?
Okay, I didn't know.
Contreras isn't in. Right, if you could find some Nationals, go try to make the old National stack. Bryce Harper, the Phillies aren't on the slate.
They want to know if I like falafel, the food, or who's falafel? Is that a nickname? Is it somebody that sounds like falafel?
It beats me.
I don't know who falafel is. Is that somebody?
Kiner Falefa, maybe? IKF?
Oh, IKF. That's got to be who it is. No, I'm not playing IKF. There's no chance I play IKF.
Was IKF on the Nationals?
I don't think so.
I thought he was on the Rangers.
He was a catcher for a brief period. Yeah, I guess he's just asking about. I don't know if I've had I don't think I've had falafel before. The food? Am I missing out?
You're not missing out on anything.
No. Okay.
I've never been a falafel person anyway.
Like you used to live in New York. That feels like something like a street food you probably can get in New York.
Yeah. You could get any in New York. You could get anything you want.
Let's see. You got some homer predictions? I know this is going to tilt you.
Really? Are you kidding me? what I can do? Okay, hold on. I could actually give you. I could actually give something if you're playing on Prize Picks. I could give you Prize Picks.
Okay. What do you have? What's your card?
I have to check to make sure that they're all available because you have to get them early. If you don't get them early, they'll move the number on you.
They adjust where they should be.
Right. Let's just make sure. Right now, the one that I have the most amount of money on in comparison. Remember, I play a whole bunch. Is Kyle Wright's under fantasy points, 32.5.
Okay. That's the night slate.
Right. All right. They it has to be this slate only. I
don't
Prize
know.
Picks doesn't matter. I mean, the Prize Picks slate is anything, right? So it doesn't matter.
Okay, so let me just clarify this. Joe is talking about this in chat. The White Sox and the Royals. Yeah, I think they are appearing in our lineup HQ on FanDuel. They're actually on the FanDuel page. If you go to build your lineup on FanDuel, like Chicago, Kansas City is an option, but there's no players that are available. They goofed, basically.
Right.
Ignore that. Pretend like you're not seeing it. As far as I can tell, it's not on the slate, and Chicago and Kansas City play later. They play later tonight, and they played a doubleheader yesterday. Maybe that might have threw things off. I imagine that's what happens, but I would just ignore that, and they're not playing. So, yeah, and we probably pull the lineup HQ probably pulls from FanDuel, and that's why we have a duplicate of that. But just ignore Chicago and Kansas City. Yeah, they're playing tonight, and Vinny Pasquantino is like 2.1K again on DK, and I'm sure I'm going to have a bunch of them because he's super, super cheap. Of course, if I have some salary, I will play some Goldie. He's in Coors Field, and he's facing a lefty, and the weather's good. We should have, let's see, is Roth lurking just yet? No, they'll be popping in a few minutes. They'll be knocking on the door. I'm trying to buy some time, see what's what do you have a hot take, a bold take? You don't have any hot takes, right?
I have Prize Picks. If we want to
go ahead, give your Prize Picks.
If we want to do it I have to look for this slate, right? So not for anything. I'm telling you what I have. So this is not like here's a pick and you go do it like that. I literally, because I will never say anything until I have it because they'll move the number. That move. We don't have them on the slate. I have a lot more at night.
You would move the needle?
No, well, enough people, enough liquidity comes in on because if I notice it, that means other people notice it, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. I got Manaya's over 5.5 Ks. I got that's not on this slate. I got the Junis over 3 Ks on this slate. Springs under 17.5 pitcher outs. I got on Prize Picks. And I got Soto over 7.5 fantasy points.
I bet Soto for a homer today at like plus 430. I want to say at Caesars, which I think is it just seems a little bit too good as far as the line. What do you think? 430? You like it?
I don't know. I have nothing to compare it to.
What do you mean you have nothing to compare?
I don't like none of what I do is handicapping. All I do is I compare the bat projections and betting markets to the lines on Prize Picks. So, like, truthfully, I could go to any sport. Like, they have lacrosse here. Like, if you tell me there's a projection source for lacrosse and there's a betting market that's existing already for lacrosse, like, I could go do lacrosse ones, and I have no idea.
They have highlight, which I thought was amazing. Like, highlight is in like 3 places, basically. I used to go there all the time when I was younger. When I was in South Florida, Daniel Highlight. They have it in Miami as well, and I think they have it in they do have it in Orlando and Connecticut.
Right, Milford, Connecticut. I remember because I'm from the New York City area.
Yeah, I don't know why Highlight is big in Connecticut. It just seems okay. Of all places, Connecticut too. Sure, why not? But
it's the New York City. It's the New York City market, and I think it's not legal in New York or something. I don't know.
I think most people know. If you do know what Highlight is, you know from like Miami Vice, and you're old. That's about it. I don't know. All right. Oh, we got the Crunch Time crew. It's TJ. TJ Zwarych. He's got the wedding this week. For a second, TJ, I thought you were pitching today for the Reds. It's close enough.
I am.
You might.
I am pitching for it's a busy time. I'm, getting married in 3 days. I'm pitching for the Reds, doing content for RG, running AOF. So it's been a busy time.
That's Agents of Fantasy, right? Is that what's going on there with AOF?
Plug.
Agents of Fandom. I haven't been writing the Agents of Fantasy this week just because I've been wedding prepping, but it'll be back next week.
Dave, how you feeling today? I heard you powering through last night.
Yeah, way better. It's amazing what like 14 hours of sleep will do.
And some
How about
soup,
yourself,
and some
Roth?
good chicken and wild rice soup as well.
Yes, absolutely. It all helped tremendously.
Roth, how we doing today? It's been a rough go all around as far as the show last night. Hopefully you're feeling better as well, and the family.
I'm right. It's been like a week. I felt like crap, and I feel like I'm finally starting to pull out of it. Like I feel a little bit better today, so hopefully that trend continues.
You guys got 40 minutes until lock. Feel free to fill some time, Kevin. You can speak a little bit slower today if you want. I told the chat and YouTube, typically when you pull questions, you're pulling questions from the RotoGrinders premium Discord. I said to the chat, like, just a heads up. A lot of times Roth doesn't have time to answer your questions. I think he's going to have time to answer questions on YouTube.
I think it's likely. And it feels like a day where you can ask whatever the hell you want. It does not have to be about baseball. I think we're going to have time to just
In fact,
ask.
it probably shouldn't be about baseball. Like, let's make your first goal to be about something else.
Right.
You guys know anything about highlight? You want to talk about highlight?
A fellow Floridian here. So it's big in Florida. I had no idea anyone else knew anything about it.
Do you ever go to Highlight Live, Roth?
I have never seen it live, but there were commercials in Florida growing up, like fastest sport in the world, highlight.
Yeah. The Pelota, the Cesta. I may have skipped school a couple of times to go to Highlight. That possibly could have happened many years ago.
It looked pretty awesome. Yeah.
Blender, you got anything else to the boys here? Or we want to step aside and get out of here?
I'm ready to go. I got to make my lineup.
All right. Well, you got 40 minutes to make a lineup. You can figure it out.
It's crafting. You're right. It'll probably only take me 3 minutes.
You don't have to use an optimizer for one lineup, do you?
No. I pick the lineup that I want. I go through and I pick the lineup that I want.
Do hit the like button and subscribe. Hit the like button before TJ promises like a Spidey bomb and all of a sudden shows us up with like a spike of 50 likes out of nowhere. We want to get credit for those likes,
You did good today, Dean. We got 150 people watching. There's already 63. I like it. I think we'll give away first Spidey bomb at 75 likes, second one at 100. You crushed it today.
There you go. I'm going to yield to Blender. Blender was groveling. I wasn't groveling so much, but
no, I was groveling for you to grovel. I wanted you to grovel.
All right, we're going to step aside and get out of here. I'm going to go check out the highlight slates. I'm going to make some lineups as well, too. I'll be on later to talk the main slate at 5 o'clock as well. Myself and Blender, thank you for watching the first part here. Now we're talking about the Fanduel sponsor Crunch Time. You got Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth hosting it. Take it over, Roth.
Appreciate it, as always, Dino. He said it, and he said it best, as he usually does. This is indeed Crunch Time, sponsored by Fanduel. Fanduel Single Entry Series ongoing. I don't know if we've got one ongoing for this slate. It's probably for the main slate.
It is.
Yeah, Cheese, is that correct?
Yeah, it's for the main slate tonight.
Right. $50K in bonus cash up for grabs. You got to get in it early. These things they're selling out like hotcakes. And everybody loves hotcakes. Everybody loves the FanDuel Single Entry Series. Top finisher in each series gets an all expenses paid trip to the Single Entry Series Championship in Chicago, September 9th. Shot at the $10,000 grand prize. Make sure you're getting in that. It's literally the best thing you can do for your money, I think. I'm pretty sure. I can't officially say that, but I think that's accurate. The other best thing you can do for your money is listen to a couple of the sharpest minds in the biz joining us now. One of those, Mr. Dave Potts, a.k.a. Cheeseisgood. How are you, brother?
I am doing well. I was expecting to just not wake up at all today, but I woke up feeling better. And it's a good split slate day. We have two, good-ish fair-sized slates. So I'm excited to hear TJ's inside information on this guy who's pitching today, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, his brother or himself. We're not sure.
It's me. It's straight up me. I'm flying right to the game immediately after today's show because obviously it is the first one on the slate, and so I have to get to. I have to get there pretty quick. I don't know.
Where is the game? It seems like you don't know.
The game's in New York.
You hesitated. I was like, you got to.
Yeah, I had to make sure it wasn't in Cincinnati. As I said, I got a lot of going on with the wedding in 3 days, so I hadn't checked the location yet. And we've had the Goku Spirit Bomb in the past, and I'm just going to be using Goku's instant transmission to get there really quick. That's how I'm going to get there. I'm not flying, so It'll be a good game. It should be fun. It's obviously a great experience to be able to pitch in the major leagues. And it's a fun one too, because I used to be with the Mets organization. I was with the Mets organization. Then I went to the Blue Jays. Now I'm here on the Reds. And it's a revenge game. And revenge games are always fun. But
plus
full
you can
disclosure,
Spidey bomb like Alonso and then just throw a meatball.
Yeah, full disclosure, like I would stack against me because I'm not a major league pitcher.
Yeah, right. I think that is a good plan. Hey, your wedding is coming up in 3 days. Don't worry, we'll get to some DFS here. Do you remember the advice I gave you roughly 3 months ago when you're like, hey, I got a wedding coming up? Because I'm going to tell you again, regardless of if you remember or not.
No, tell me again, because I'm struggling with brain fog and I could try and pull it out of my butt, but it'd be better if you just tell me.
It's the most important thing I ever did on my wedding day, and I recommend this to everyone else. Literally, the only thing you should focus on is having fun.
Yeah.
Everything else is irrelevant. As long as you're having fun, then everybody else starts having fun. Don't worry about if your guests are having fun. You just have fun, and then they will follow. They're like little lemmings. They're like little ducklings, and you're the daddy duck. You're the mama duck.
You're absolutely right. And I'm trying to just keep a positive mindset too, because there's already things popping up. Like one of my groomsmen got COVID, and so he's likely not going to be able to join us. And so there's been some crappy things popping up, but I'm just kind of going with the mindset of like, I don't care. I'm marrying my best friend. We're going to have a party. It's going to be fun. Another good piece of advice that I got that I'm going to like try and focus on as well is just like find a smell, find a taste, find a song, like a sound, and just like so that for the rest of your life you had that moment of being mindful, and so anytime you have that sound, smell, taste again, it reminds you of that wedding day. So that's another one I'm going to throw in there as well. Just have fun and be present.
I like that. Those are good tips, and of course, congratulations to you. All right. Well, hey, some people in the Discord saying these are brilliant tips, and they are. It's important. Have a good time at your wedding. It's the most important thing.
And we're already at 75 likes, so we're less than 25 away from our second Spidey bomb. Hit the like button. Free content. Early Wednesday morning, we'll get you a second one, but the first one of the day, it's not going to be against me. I feel like that might be a bit of a conflict of interest. And so we're going with Josh Bell today. Spidey feels pretty good about the Padres, and Josh Bell's going to fire one out of the park.
Okay. Cheese nodded in agreement with that. I saw a very subtle cheese nod to go along with it. Okay, guys, let's talk about this slate. As far as the morning or after, early slate goes, there's no weather concerns, which is nice. Just kind of looking at things, double checking. Yeah, everything looks good. In the evening slate, I'm worried about Baltimore. We could see some rain in Philly late. But as far as this slate goes, no weather concerns. So with that, let's turn it over and talk some pitchers. And in order to do that, I like to start with our guy, Mr. Cheese. What are you liking? What are you loving?
So I don't love anything. Brandon Woodruff is the guy up top, and he is very good, but not quite just amazing. Like he's not one of those there's no way he can fail kind of guys. But the matchup is pretty good. The last start was just like a weird dud for him at Pittsburgh. Prior to that, he had looked pretty much like his normal self, but it's been an up and down year. And like, there's something, like, he's still not back to where he was last year. So for me, like he's
expensive.
He's very clearly the best guy, but like on FanDuel where he's 11K and everyone else is under 10. This is not a have to have guy. He's very easy to fit on DraftKings. Not even that hard to fit on FanDuel, but I don't like him as much as I feel like I'm supposed to.
Roth will like this question. Can I play Tukey Toussaint today?
I do like that question. Can we play some Tukey?
Yeah. Personally, I cannot. Like this guy has been a prospect for so long, and he still just can't figure out where the strike zone is. Like the talent is in there somewhere, and the matchup is in there right now, and I get it. I'm not playing him. I would not yell at you if you did. Like he's been in long relief. So even though he hasn't started, he's more or less stretched out. Like he threw 85 pitches last week, and he does have strikeout ability. I would not tell you that you're a crazy person for playing Tukey. I can just tell you that as far as the cheap guys go, I prefer Justin Steele. And like on FanDuel, you don't need that much salary. Like 5,800, like you can't even spend that all. Like you're pretty much locked into just playing Judge, Ohtani, and Soto and Machado. And then not that that's not great. I don't think you get enough out of Tukey personally.
I feel pretty good about Alonso, Lindor, Soto, Machado, and Ohtani on my team.
I'm sure you do. As well you should. Those guys are all amazing. Yeah, I don't like a guy who has never been good at pitching ever in the majors, period, once ever. Like that's just what it comes down to. But the talent absolutely is there. I mean, he has always had the pedigree, and he's always flashed occasional strikeouts. So I do not blame you for playing the guy at all.
I'm trusting the bat projection. He's projected for 5 less points than Robbie Ray on the bat, and Robbie Ray is $4,000 more. Playing small. I'm not going very big today, so I'm not worried about just like losing a whole bankroll, but I decided to go short bankroll, one lineup, and I'm going risky with some Toussaint today and playing all the bats.
Well, but then he projects for 15 less than Woodruff and 10 less than Manaea and Walker. Like you're still like you picked out Ray because Ray's also projected low. I mean, if you really need that salary, I get it. I don't find myself needing that salary on FanDuel, but I get it. I get it is what I will say.
So who are your favorite kind of tournament pivots if you don't think you need Woodruff, you don't if Toussaint salary, you don't think you're going to need it? Who are these kind of mid-tier guys that you're liking best for tourneys today?
Justin Steele and Josiah Gray in that weird little Nationals Cubs game that does not need to exist in real life. I am very spread out at pitching. Like even with a whole bunch of guys that aren't particularly good, I have a little bit of Manaea and Walker. But I think if you're just trying to win a tournament, you should just play Robbie Ray and say, you'll probably just lose Robbie Ray against the Yankees. But other than Woodruff, Ray is the guy that can score, 60 FanDuel points very clearly. All these other cheap guys can't. You're just saying, okay, so they score 30 and nobody scores much, so it doesn't matter. And that's kind of the case for Tukey. Is if Woodruff and Ray don't have big games, and really probably nobody has a big game, you have a bunch of guys scoring 30 FanDuel points, and then you take, even if it's 20 from Toussaint, you're fine. So to me, that's the case for going cheap.
On FanDuel, where Justin Steele is $2,800 more than he is on DraftKings, are you willing to take shots on some of these guys like Taijuan Walker, Jeffrey Springs, Paul Blackburn in the mid-tier?
Yes. I have a little Blackburn. I like Taijuan Walker. Like he got absolutely shellacked in his last start. Shellacked, pronounce all the syllables. But he's like a very steady guy. Like the team he's facing needs to beat him. Like he won't do it to himself. And I'm not sure the Reds are that team. So I do like Walker. But the real answer is, you should be able to tell from my hemming and hawing, is I don't like any of these guys. Like it's just not a slate where I see any reason to go overboard with any of these pitchers.
Who would be your FanDuel cash pitcher?
I didn't even think about that one. Honestly, it would be Brandon Woodruff.
I would try and get off to Woodruff, and if I couldn't do it, I think the next guy for me would be Walker. I agree there that if you look at the little blurb we have on him that Head Chopper wrote up, like this is a largely right-handed Cincinnati lineup outside of, you got Votto and Moustakas in there. I actually haven't looked at what Cincinnati's lineup is. Fraley, Papierski, and Votto are your only left-handed bats in there. So a very largely right-handed lineup, and Walker is far better against righties than he is lefties. So I do think Walker is a fairly safe option.
And I would also say with Walker, if you look at the game law, if last week hadn't happened, like you would just look at him and say, this is like the most consistent guy in the world. Like he's been incredibly consistent until that one shellacking against a far better team than this. So yeah, like I'm totally on board. It's just kind of a big glob of okayness.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm with you there, which is why I'm looking to take a shot on Toussaint in tournaments. But I agree, I like Taijuan Walker as well, and Paul Blackburn would be somebody I'd take a shot on Fanduel, where he's nice and cheap, and Justin Steele on DraftKings I think is just the top play. Justin Steele, if I was playing 150, would be a guy I think on DraftKings I'd be looking to get on nearly every lineup. 10 likes away from the Spidey bomb, and to answer that YouTube question for the other people confused, I know producer Steve, is it Steve or Eli today? I didn't even see, but our producer Steve answered that question in chat. But no, the White Sox game is not on the slate. That was just an error. Don't play the White Sox or Kansas City on FanDuel.
And then let's touch on DK pitching, because it's pretty different, where Justin Steele and Paul Blackburn are super cheap. And I think Woodruff Walker would be kind of the first look at a cash game build. But with the salary, I would go Woodruff Steele personally. A slight lean to Steele over Blackburn. But both of them are a little underpriced there.
Okay, I'm gonna. I got a word in. TJ, is there? Do you want to talk about some DK pitchers or no?
Yeah, I can talk about some DK pitchers quick. I agree for the most part with what Cheese said, though. It's Woodruff is nice and easy to get to. Justin Steele is so wildly cheap. Paul Blackburn is so wildly cheap. I would not play Touki Toussaint over there because I would just rather go with these other cheap guys. And I think even if I was running 150, I would just be keeping a super, super tight pool over there. Tons of Woodruff, tons of Blackburn, tons of Justin Steele. And then I'd be mixing in a little bit of Walker, Manaea, and Ray just in case they hit ceiling games.
Okay. So I just got a text from my wife that says, I got attacked by a snake while swimming. Like that. I'm going to need more details. That sounds terrifying.
Yeah, that's not enough information.
Right. I'm like, was it a poisonous snake? Did it bite you?
Was it like followed by a laughy emoji or like a 911
just nothing,
emoji?
not even a punctuation. Just got attacked by a snake when swimming with our baby. Like, okay, I'm gonna need a lot more details there. Anyways, let's talk about some of these stacks. Cheese, I will get more clarification on these. Was this like an anaconda situation? Was this a little baby? I don't know. Cheese, let's talk about the stacks. If the pitchers are so spread out, are the stacks spread out as well, or is there one that's the move?
Yeah, so basically it's a very small little obvious top tier and then a glob. The Mets are the chalk against our friend TJ, and then the Padres are the second. And those two teams are a very good bit ahead of the field for me. And after that, you run into the huge glob of you can stack every team on this slate. There's not anything that you have to avoid, but it's very clearly Mets and Padres, and I'm going to say that I prefer the Padres, assuming that the Mets are the chalkier of the two.
Okay, update. I just got a photo of the snake. It is about yay big, so I think the family's going to make it. TJ, tell me about your favorite stacks. Are you stacking against yourself?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Pete Rose was the blueprint. Calvin Ridley in the NFL have kind of showed like you can be pretty profitable gambling on the sport that you're playing in. So I'm gonna give it a shot today. Hope the MLB does not notice that I am betting in this game. I hope that they don't watch this stream. But yeah, I'm gonna roll a lot of Mets today. I'm a little bit worried about the pinch hit risk of guys like Vogelbach and Naquin. But they also are just in such great spots. You got a keystone position like second base and Jeff McNeil in a batting fifth today, which is a nice spot for him. And then Alonso and Lindor are two of the top guys on the slate. I agree. San Diego is the next tier in there, which is why I'm interested in playing two Saints, so I can kind of play both of those teams. And outside of that, it's pretty darn spread out. And I think I'm honestly looking less to stack and more to just pick off some one-offs out of some of these other teams.
Okay, excellent. Guys, let's go position by position here. And we like to start at the old catcher spot. TJ, you want to lead us off?
Yeah, I can lead us off at catcher today. So on DraftKings, do we have that Kansas City game available? Cheese?
No.
No, it's not. Okay, I thought I heard somebody playing it. Like I thought I heard Dean talking about Pasquantino or something last game. So
No, it's not. It's not on here.
okay. So on DraftKings today for catcher, on Fanduel, I don't think you have to play a single catcher. Like, I don't think there's one guy that I would be interested in playing today. And so that's why I only have Fanduel up here, and we got Fanduel open on screen share here. So I think we might as well go to Cheese for catcher.
Oh, okay. Cheese, talk to me about catcher.
Yeah, it's not good. Like Sean Murphy
gross.
is kind of the only guy who's kind of good, but it's not like spending $4,700 on Sean Murphy is a good play. So I want to wait and see the Yankees lineup and play either Higashioka or Trevino. Probably is my go-to guy. I think you punt at catcher, like play one of the Cubs guys, probably like Yan Gomes at 2,100, or just someone in your stack. There's really nothing here.
Okay, then let's just go to first base, and Cheese, you can lead us off there.
So we start with the Mets, Alonso, Vogelbach, and then Josh Bell. I mentioned the Padres is right behind the Mets. Like those three guys are the clear best plays, the chalk. Now on DraftKings, Ohtani is a first baseman also, but I'm thinking of him more in the outfield. I like Seth Brown as the cheap guy, although TJ might tell you facing Toussaint, there's no chance. But I do like Seth Brown. Joey Votto is also cheap and somewhat interesting to me. But really, this is a place because there's three kind of obvious guys and a fourth on DK with Ohtani. I think you can play one of Alonso, Bell, Vogelbach. I mean, they can't all three be 50% owned because of the way numbers work. And I would put them Alonso and then Bell and then Vogelbach in that order.
Okay. All right, Teach.
Yeah, so Josh Bell, first Spidey bomb of the day. Alonso, Bell, Vogelbach is the exact same way that I would rank those guys. And this is really why I'd be looking so much of just like, I like the Mets stack. I like the Padres stack. But outside of them, I'm just looking at one-off because there's not many people not many full stacks I like. And the annoying thing is I do like Seth Brown and some of these Oakland guys as one-offs today. I think Joey Votto is somewhat interesting at first base as well. Jared Walsh is another guy I think you could one-off there or mini stack with Shohei Ohtani, but the three guys up top are really the clear top tier here at this position.
Okay, then take me to second base.
This is a position that if you want to, I think you can get different with some pretty strong options today because Jeff McNeil is probably going to be the most owned guy, and it's Jeff McNeil. It's a guy, even though he's in a great spot, he doesn't have any power. So I think that's someone you can get off of. You can play Brandon Lau as a one-off. Nobody's going to be playing him against Woodruff. Brandon Drury or Jake Cronenworth are both good options with the Dodgers. And then I think Gleyber Torres is interesting against a lefty, even though that lefty is Robbie Ray. And even Keston Hiura in the same situation, even as a one-off. He's batting sixth today against Jeffrey Springs. He's cheap. You can play him at second base. I think he's an option.
Okay. Cheese, second.
I like Torres the best. I like Cronenworth a lot. I think you play Lau even in some Woodruff lineups. This is the kind of slate where I will play a one-off against my pitcher. McNeal is fine. Don't tell TJ he hit a home run last night, but it is true. He has no power, but like he's good. Like he's a very good baseball player. So he's the kind of guy you want.
Sample size. Blah, blah, blah. My name is Derek Carty. Sample size. That doesn't count.
And he homered like 5 days ago as well. He's mad at you, but really, no, he is not a power guy. But he's a fantastic baseball player, and I like him. But I just prefer Torres and Cronenworth in that price range. So that's kind of my guys.
Take me to third base, Cheese.
I can do that. Manny Machado is the obvious play here. Should be one of the more popular guys on the slate, just because you can afford him. Other than in Woodruff lineups on FanDuel, it's not that hard to get him. Josh Donaldson, as always, way too cheap on FanDuel and pretty cheap on DK. I like Suarez as a one-off against Cortez. We're going to have to wait and see the Giants lineup, and there's going to be pinch hit risk, but I'm somewhat interested in some cheaper Giants. I'm going to assume that JD Davis is the new, Darren Ruff Slater that he's just going to be pinch hit for every day, but still, like on DK at 2,200, I think you can play him.
Okay.
So
TJ?
this wouldn't be something I think that would be all that necessary to dive in depth for, but I think because it's a small slate and the Mets are going to be massive chalk, it's going to be worth it today. We've seen a lot of pinch hit risk with Vogelbach and Naquin specifically. With the way this lineup is set up, three lefties in a row, and then 3 out of 4 guys are lefties, starting with Vogelbach. I kind of would assume that if we were to see a lefty come in here, it'd either be from the bullpen, it would either be to start with Nimmo, or it would be right after Alonso when Vogelbach comes on. So if a pinch hit were to come, I'd assume Ruff would go in for Vogelbach as opposed to Naquin because that's there. And we already have Canha in this lineup. So would you kind of infer then that Vogelbach is the most likely to get pinch hit for today, and Naquin may be a little safer because he's further back in the lineup and Canha's already there playing?
Yes, I would agree with that. I mean, I think it'll just be very Ruff can come in for either of them depending on how it goes. But yes, I think that's a good assessment.
7 likes away from the Spidey bomb. Let's hit the like button. Third base is a pretty straightforward position. Manny Machado's the top play by a large margin. Then if you want to save salary, you got Josh Donaldson, you got Evan Longoria. Both of those are fine. Wilmer Flores, that's fine. I think DJ LeMahieu is somewhat interesting. Brandon Drury, obviously, you can play at third as well, but you're probably playing Machado there. And honestly, if you want to play Padres and get different, play Cronenworth at second and Brandon Drury at third, and hold your breath that Manny Machado doesn't hit a home run, and you're going to have a very different Padres stack than everyone else.
Okay, Cheese, short.
Lindor is your chalk. The very big chalk, just because like we've seen it the last few days, is just sort of way above everyone else at the position. I do like Adames. He's kind of the obvious pivot, just a little bit cheaper. And then everything else it's just a huge discount and very much not as good. Kim and Farmer are the only two that I kind of like. Like on FanDuel, where you can play Luis Urias. I think he's in play at shortstop. But really, this is all just kind of in a stack nonsense, unless you're playing Lindor or pivoting to Adames.
Okay. Well, that brings us to some not nonsense, which is in the outfield. What do we like?
I'll touch on short quick just because I didn't do that. I didn't do that one. And I agree completely. I do think a somewhat interesting one-off could be Nico Horner. Josiah Gray is just giving up a wild amount of home runs this year, and it's kind of a gross position if you're wanting to fade Lindor and go cheap. The Cubs are a team that I think is a somewhat interesting low-owned tournament stack today that I haven't really touched on at all. Outfield is just a bonkers position up top. If you're saving
salaries. Can I get a
salaries,
Spidey bomb update before we get to the outfield? Are we at 100 likes yet? Because
5 likes away from Spidey bomb number 2. So hit the like button, and we'll hopefully be able to get it by the time I'm done outfield.
Okay.
It's just wildly good up top. Juan Soto is my favorite option. Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani are right up there as well. I think I find Judge maybe a bit easier to get to on DraftKings today, because even though his price is starting to come down on FanDuel, I would just rather play Ohtani and Soto for over $1,000 less than Aaron Judge today. So those are the two I'm getting to. In the mid tier, you have Brandon Nimmo in a great spot, Hunter Renfroe in a great spot, McCutchen in a great spot, Ian Happ looking pretty solid as well. So that's mostly where I'd be looking. But for me personally, I'm going to be paying up since I'm paying down at pitching today.
Okay. Cheese.
Yeah, those three guys up top are just so obviously fantastic and better than everyone else. And if you're going cheap at pitching, that's why. So you get those three guys. They're also going to all be very popular. I would go Judge first on FanDuel because he's kind of overpriced in comparison. I think Soto will end up being the chalky of the three. And to try to just decide which one's best is kind of silly. Like, they're all just amazing. So give me Judge first. And then it kind of depends on what you're doing stacking wise. If you're looking for one-offs, if you have salary, if you don't. Hunter Renfroe's kind of a guy, random one-off guy that I like. Mitch Haniger. Mitch Haniger. Excuse me. Another mid-tier home run. I don't mind Taylor Ward in that same range. That's kind of the place I like to hang out, finding one-outs. This mid-range, you could throw the Cubs guys in there. You mentioned Happ. I like Seiya Suzuki. I think if you go like three mid-tier outfielders, you're totally different because it's going to be pretty obvious to try to get two of those top three, and then maybe you need a cheap third guy. So I don't mind going with three in the mid-tier.
Okay. One stack to win it all, Cheese.
Padres.
TJ, one stack to win it all.
Padres.
Oh, some agreement.
And going back to what TJ said, it's not hard to get different at all. You play Brandon Drury, period. You're different because you're playing him instead of either Bell or Machado, and your lineup's different, and it's great. So it's not hard. It's not the same 4 or 5 guys in every Padres stack.
Okay, excellent. Let's take some QQs, guys. I'm going to jump on over to the old Discord. And
Quick, there's been some people asking for some recaps in YouTube, so I'll just quickly go over that.
Sure.
And we're 1 like away from the Spidey bomb, so somebody's going to click it, and we are going to get it. Spidey bomb number 2 today. He's not that chalky, so I'm just going to do it. It's Shohei Ohtani. I'm playing him today over Aaron Judge, and I like him a lot. And so Shohei Ohtani is going to be the second Spidey bomb of the day. Yeah, he hits a lot of bombs, but on a small slate, not that many people are playing him. Okay. And so that's going to be the guy today. FanDuel pitching, play whoever the heck you want. DraftKings pitching, Brandon Woodruff, Justin Steele, Paul Blackburn, and Taijuan Walker. I think we're both of our kind of top 4 options. Stacks, we have the Mets and the Padres in the top tier. Then for me personally, the next group is the Milwaukee and the Cubs for a stack. And then my next group after that is going to be Seattle as well as the Angels.
Okay. Let's get a couple of these QQs before lock here. Oh, we've got 7 minutes. I forgot we've got an extra cushion here. But Cheese, Luke Cage says, would you play Walker and Gray together in a DK GPP?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. All right. Achilles says, TJ, you like Blackburn or Steele?
Steele.
Cheese, rank these big boppers. Alonso, Ohtani, Judge, Machado.
Why don't you rank them?
Okay. Ohtani first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, really,
quick about that Steele answer. You don't even have Nelson Cruz in the lineup for Washington today. So, there's no one. Their highest ISO is Lane Thomas. So it's definitely Justin Steele. I'd borderline lock button Justin Steele today on DraftKings, I think.
Okay.
So back to that question, really and honestly, those 5 players are so clearly ahead of the field. And if you really want me to try to rank them, I'm just rolling dice. Nobody can really rank those 5 players. Right. It's so. I don't even want to pretend like I can know the answer to that.
I don't know. I kind of felt like that was going to be the case, even as I saw the question. But okay, same person asking another question. So maybe this one, Lindor or Alonso for you in DK, Cheese?
Alonso.
Okay, great. Dan Jan says, DK single entry, TJ, who is the low owned stack to win it all? Is this Padres or they're not low owned?
They're not going to be very low owned, but they're going to be low owned in comparison to the Mets, I think. So if you want to get something like totally off the board, I think my answer would be the Cubs.
Okay.
They're not
Carolina
totally
guy.
off the board, but they're just like not over owned.
Okay. All right. Cheese. Carolina guy says your favorite low owned pitcher in a FanDuel GPP. Now for TJ, this is that
Tukey Toussaint.
Tukey. Thank you. I was going to call him that Dookie guy, but the Tukey. But for Cheese, who's your favorite low owned pitcher in a FanDuel GPP?
Robbie Ray.
Excellent. Cheese, which cheap he put, I believe this is outfielder, but it's not capitalized, so it just looks like what cheap of do you like best on DK for cash? He probably means cheap outfielder.
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah.
Depending what qualifies as cheap, Trent Grisham at 28 would be my answer. If you need like super cheap, like all the way down, I would probably play Nick Senzel at 21.
Okay. Tony says, "What's a Spidey bomb?"
Spidey bomb is when one of our two amazing Spider-Men here, they whisper in my ear who's going to be hitting a home run today. It's hitting at about a 40% clip this season, which is pretty nice for home runs. You can bet them, you can play them in your DFS lineup, and it's honestly just the way to get the crowd involved and make sure we're hitting the like button to combat the YouTube algorithm. It's the only way we get to keep delivering these shows for free. Is FanDuel won't want to sponsor them unless they're doing well on YouTube. So we need people to hit the like button. So our people want to sponsor the show and we can keep giving things away to our amazing viewers and keep giving away free content.
That is true. Big Show. The Big Show says, Cheese, what are your thoughts on Oakland? Didn't the Big Show, he was the rest of it, and he go, whoa.
Chokeslam, big dude.
Yeah. Cheese, what are your thoughts on Oakland from the Big Show?
Yeah.
This is the Big Show.
I like the Oakland stack. So they're against the Tukey Toussaint character who is talented and yet never once in his life has been good yet. And he walks everybody.
Paul Blackburn placed on 15-day IL.
Really?
So Paul Blackburn is about to be scratched. And that game does not start for a while, so you have time to get him out of your lineups. But he's a pitcher we really liked on DraftKings and we were considering on FanDuel. Get Paul Blackburn out of your lineups.
So you need $500 to get up to Justin Steele. That would be what I would try to do with your Blackburn lineups.
Okay, thank you.
And I mean, he's facing the Angels, so kind of whoop-de-doo, but we do need to see who it is. But I mean, we're still going to like Ohtani pretty much regardless.
Sure. Okay. Let's see. Dan Jan says, could you stack the Reds against Walker? Cheese, could you stack the Reds against Walker?
You could. Yeah. Definitely on DK. I mean, they're so incredibly cheap. Like you can do a red stack with whichever of the, you can go Machado, Soto, Judge, or whoever you want. And yeah, you can.
Okay. Cheese, I'm getting hungry, and I believe my lunch options are pork chops that I could cook or chicken thighs. You get to choose pork chops or chicken thighs.
Yeah. In what way would you cook the pork chops?
I'm going to probably do like a homemade shake and bake if I do pork chops. And if I do chicken thighs, I would probably do like a fried rice.
Okay. Well, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say, if you could do something similar to a shake and bake, I would do the pork chops.
Okay. Pork chops with a shake and bake. Done. Thank you. I needed that help. We've got 1 minute or so until lock.
TJ, luckily, like he doesn't have to pitch till the bottom of the first, but he's going to be needed soon in New York.
Yeah. TJ, you may want to be there pretty soon. Timmy Tebow says, pick one of these two gentlemen, DK Cash, TJ, Ortega and Thomas, or Grisham. Ortega, Thomas, or Grisham.
I think the answer is Grisham, but I honestly like Ortega best.
Okay. All right. Jumping over to the YouTube here. Really just like I'm searching for questions. Searching for them, man. Do we like a Brewer stack on DK? Did we discuss this?
I think they're interesting for GPPs, yeah.
With the Blackburn scratch, do you lean more towards the Angels, Cheese?
No.
The other thing with I agree. No, I don't, because Blackburn gives up a lot of home runs. So that's why one of the reasons I was interested in the Angels. I really, really like Milwaukee as a secondary stack more than a full stack. Like, I think I would just love to play Adames, Renfroe, McCutcheon as a 3-man mini stack and have a 5-man stack with somebody else on DraftKings. I don't mind mixing in Keston Hiura, Tyrone Taylor, even Christian Yelich, lefty, but I think my favorite option would be a 3-man of Renfroe, McCutcheon, and Adames.
Okay, great. We've hit the lock, and we've got one last question. We got to get TJ out there in New York so he can pitch. Last question from Achilles. DK Cash, I have noticed Achilles likes to ask, which of these two awesome plays should you play? And in this case, Cheese, the question is Judge v. Ohtani.
Judge.
If you can afford Judge, yeah. If it's straight up, I think it's got to be Judge, just against anyone in the world right now.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, with that, we have answered the questions. We've given the pitchers the weather, of which there is none, and the hitters and stacks. So we are going to get out of here, but don't you worry. We're going to see you later today. Cheese, are you on in the late show as well or no?
No, you'll be with some other people.
Okay. Well, you will be missed. TJ, I imagine you will not be on in the later show as you're pitching.
Yeah, I'm pitching today, and you won't see me for a while now because I'm not back on until post-wedding.
Are you honeymooning right away?
Not really. Like we're going to like an expo that's like a comic expo that's a couple hours away the weekend after. We're going to Chicago for the World Fantasy Baseball Championship in September. We're going to Vegas for a music festival in October. So we got lots of trips coming up anyways, and we kind of figured like this has been a lot of work. We're going to want to just relax with our dogs, watch some movies afterwards. So having a little at-home honeymoon because we got some trips coming up in the future.
A multitude of mini moons. That sounds great. I took my wife to the Amazon rainforest on her honeymoon where we slept.
You got attacked by snakes?
We were attacked by snakes. We slept in a hut with indigenous peoples, and she got staph infection. It was very romantic. It was
Great
really,
job, Kevin.
Yeah,
job.
I don't recommend that.
I could have told you before it even happened that was a terrible idea.
Obviously. It was a poor choice all around. It was very hot, very sweaty, very terrible. Yeah, mistakes were made. It is really cool for what it's worth, just not on a honeymoon. With that, we're going to get on out of here. So for Cheese, for TJ, and for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes, guys, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you tomorrow. Yeah, later today, actually. You have been crunched.